Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Prime. Well, shoot, I keep doing that wrong. Welcome to Mind of Stein. Now, you guys know who I am. I'm Primetime Alex Stein. And I know that you guys are very familiar with my social work, trying to get amnesty for all big booty Latinas. And it's a cause that I am, very, very passionate about. But tonight or today, it depends on where you're at right now, we have another, and dare I say, beautiful German girl seeking asylum. And so, even though I'm a big booty Latina defender, Naomi Seibt, am I saying that wrong? Right,
Seibt.
Naomi?
Yes.
Seibt, you're an icon. You're trying to seek asylum.
Thank
I'm
you.
all for it. We need, if I'll like I said, I'm partial to big booty Latinas, but beautiful German women are allowed as well. I think we can make an exception for you guys as well. So obviously I'm joking, but can you give us a serious background story of what's really going on and why you're seeking asylum here in America?
Yeah, so it started with just Antifa threats, which would be bad enough because we've been seeing in America as well, in Chicago and Portland, how bad Antifa is. But it's worse in Germany because that's where the movement originated from. And I've been struggling with this essentially for years. I started becoming publicly political in 2019, 2020. And in 2020, I was at CPAC too, meaning I had some connections to the United States. And I think that's truly what scared the German government. And that's why they started persecuting me. I did not
Wait, time
receive any
out.
help.
Time out. You speaking at CPAC is what got Angela Merkel's panties in a wad. Dare I say? I mean, was that what got? That's what got her all mad.
Not me speaking at CPAC initially, but me questioning climate change.
Oh, okay.
In
Well,
middle and
climate
high
change
school, I
is.
was the big science, yeah, I was the big science
Look,
nerd. And so as soon as I looked into climate change, I realized if I want to consider myself a science expert or anyone who's interested in science, then I need to at least look at both sides. I'll be so honest, when Trump got elected into office, I was like, okay, that's the one topic where I think he's just completely wrong, because all the experts agree, right? 99% of experts agree that climate change is real. But then I started looking into the other side of it, and I started watching a bunch of physics lectures, for example, by Professor Richard Linson, who's a very well-known climate skeptic. And I realized, oh, wow. So they have been lying to me. And I became known as the Anti-Greta Thunberg. So as
no,
you can
you are
imagine,
the
during
you
2019,
are
that was
the
the big Fridays for
anti-Greta.
Future
You
time. Yeah.
Well, I just want to say that's become like your kind of moniker now as
Yeah.
the anti-Greta, and I know obviously you might like that a little bit, but you probably don't like being compared to her, considering like she's like an autistic, I guess, young adult now. Is she over 18 now? And she's very
Yeah.
anti-Israel, so she's very controversial now. Who would have thought that Greta would actually be kind of turning into a little bit of a villain? Naomi, what do you think about that heel turn?
Yeah, I always knew that I was not actually some form of anti-Greta. That's what the media wanted to make me out to be, because that way they could contain me, because that way I am only the opposition to Greta Thunberg. But as soon as I become something else, as soon as I become myself, Naomi Seibt, that means that I have my own thoughts, that I have something more to have an impact on, rather than just the client agenda or this conversation between Greta Thunberg and Naomi Seibt. So that was kind of like a clash for the Smokes and Mirrors show. But I knew for myself that I'm not just about climate change. I looked into that because I like science, because I like the scientific method of questioning everything. But I was also against the mass migration agenda of Angela Merkel. And then I gave a whole speech about the PCR method, the PCR tests that were a complete scam during the COVID time in the German parliament. I gave a big speech that went viral, and suddenly I was known for more than just the climate change topic. And that was another aspect of what scared the German government. And it led to the point where they must have put me under surveillance. And they did this for years without my knowing. And I found out about it over the course of the past months. And that's when I decided, while I was already in the United States, that I have to apply for asylum. I could have applied for something like a journalism visa. I could have stayed in the United States in different ways. So I didn't need this just to stay in the United States. I am doing this because I am genuinely seeking protection from the United States government, because I know at this point that German intelligence, not only have they put me under surveillance, they connected with the American intelligence community under the Biden administration specifically, to then get information from them, to be able to intercept my phone calls, to snoop into all my messages. Now Ursula von der Leyen wants to introduce chat control in the entire European Union. I have been a victim of this for many years. And I found out that they had been intercepting my communications even during a time when I was not publicly political, because I was literally dying because I was extremely ill for the past years.
Well, and also, let's just be real. You're an attractive woman. The people want to spy on you even more. You know what I mean? Like, he's like, you don't even have to be that famous, and these people are creeps. I think Tucker Carlson.
Who knows who's working there?
That's what I'm saying. They're weird, and they're probably looking at me. Like, I always look at my phone. I'm like, I wonder who's hacked into me and can see me in my most vulnerable situations. But Naomi, so you've been targeted by the German government, and I do appreciate you being candid and honest. Like, you could, potentially get some sort of like journalist visa, or some sort of visa like that. But how is the asylum process? Because I see all these people from Venezuela, even people from Afghanistan were coming up the southern border and just claiming asylum. So is it a fruitful way to get citizenship, or I guess temporary citizenship in this country, or are you being denied, and is the immigration giving you trouble right now?
Oh, it's definitely not to my advantage if I just want to stay in the United States, because I think like 9 out of 10 asylum applicants get rejected. The reason why I'm doing this is because I know that I have a legitimate case. And then after I applied for asylum, President Trump apparently announced that he may be changing the asylum system in the sense that he may prioritize, for example, white South Africans and also Europeans who have been persecuted. And the thing is with my story, I am doing this out of the same spirit that makes the United States great, the same spirit that made MAGA great and that helped President Trump win the election. Because we are fighting for free speech, for freedom from the government, against this surveillance super state idea, especially in the European Union, because that's exactly what they want to do. They put us under mass surveillance, and they want to restrict our free speech. They want us not to be able to shed light on the horrors that came with the mass migration crisis, with the COVID restrictions, the vaccines, climate change as well. Our economy is going down the drain. You know how famous the German industries are. Even China, they are admiring German industries. And now almost every state in Germany is going bankrupt.
Is that true? Is their economy is crashing that bad in Germany?
This is actually true.
They have some of the most legendary
know how Germany
brands,
is. Germany can come back from anything, and so they will. We absolutely will.
Like Mercedes-Benz, I mean Porsche, I mean Volkswagen. I mean, Volkswagen actually I think is like technically the biggest, or at least for a few years it was the biggest car brand, in the 2020s. So obviously they have a lot of good industry, and they're very smart people. So if they don't kind of die by the woke mind virus, and I know that sounds cliche, but I don't know what else to call it, maybe the country could be saved. But this is my devil's advocate to you. You've seen these people like Irina, the Ukraine refugee who came to Charlotte, North Carolina, who was stabbed by a guy that had like 17 prior felony arrests. And I think America is safe in a lot of places, but America is not that safe. And yes, you might not be targeted by the government, which I know is really, really scary. But I mean, if you're in Washington, D.C., I don't know where you are, but if you're in New York City, you're in Los Angeles, or I mean, Miami, a lot of the major cities in our country are all very, very dangerous. So do you worry about any crime here in America, or you're not?
I am in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
The reason why I'm in America is because I didn't flee from Germany to just run away. I am doing this because I want to fight for something. And if I just wanted to run away...
Well, real quick, Naomi, this is only, I forgot to put this part to my thing before you answer it. Because like in my mind, I have been to Germany. I feel like Munich, Germany is safer than, Detroit, Michigan, obviously, right? I mean, so it's like, why? And I want you to come to America. I believe that you should get asylum. I'm just like, I know that Europe is crazy, and I know in London they're arresting over 100 people a day for social media posts, and I'm sure in Germany they're crazy about that too, arresting people. So it is scary, and I guess we have more freedom here, but with that freedom comes less safety. So it's not a cakewalk here in America.
You're right. I would be much safer in jail, probably.
We
Which
don't
is
want you to go to
unfortunately
jail.
true. And there's a very good chance that I would be arrested and go to jail as soon as I come back to Germany, because they have been seeing over the course of the past year, when I got more recognition in the media, that I have very good connections to the United States. Elon Musk amplified a lot of my posts. They know that as soon as they do something to me, I will have the means to amplify it. But as soon as I come back to Germany, it's much easier for them to contain me. And I just recently, actually, after I had already applied for asylum, I got a message from my little sister telling me that I got a letter from the police. And apparently, I got my first hate crime charge for posts that I made on X. However, this is a crazy story because I had no idea what this was for. So they just told me it's for X posts. Which ones? I don't know. So I had to request the files with my attorney, and I'm still waiting. I still don't have the response from them. But then I wake up one day, I look in the news, there it is, my face all over the media, and in the national headlines, they already got the information because the police leaked it illegally to them. Which posts were the reason why I got targeted? So I took a look at them, and they didn't even link them. They gave even falsely translated quotes, but whatever, I found them eventually. And they said in the title even that I posted a Hitler salute and glorified it. Do you know what kind of target that puts on your back in Germany? So I looked it up, frantically looking for it, because I was like, I never posted a Hitler salute. What's going on? They are Elon Musking me. And they did. Because the post that they were referring to was a post, it was a screenshot from a legacy media, actually more left-wing media article that I had posted, where you can see an AfD politician, and he's surrounded by a bunch of his fans. And then I say in my post, they are tired of the liberal nonsense and something else. And in this article, the article headline was something like how the AfD is now becoming more popular and cooler, especially among the younger generation. And here's the thing, in the crowd, these fans, there's one guy who's raising both arms, but his body is cut off. So you only see the two arms. And so somebody must have assumed those two arms are from two different people doing the Hitler salute. But you can see, like, the thumbs are turned inward like this, and both
It's the
arms
same
are wearing the
person,
same
yeah.
Adidas jacket. It's the same person. And it was posted in the legacy media. So they would be charged with a hate crime too if this was actually a Hitler salute. Because in Germany, it doesn't matter what side you're on. You're just not allowed to use any Nazi iconography or anything. So it was all a lie. The police illegally leaked it to the media to put a target on my back. And this then once again amplifies the threats that I get from the left.
Well, and this is just a different tangent because I think it is relatable to what you just said. You know, in America, they want to try to say it's anti-Semitism, but really, I would call it more anti-Israelism, because people in America are kind of getting frustrated with the government of Israel, not Jewish people. You know, I think that, you know, there's very few people that are anti-Semitic, but I guess are the younger people in Germany kind of like the younger people here in America, and, you know, starting to, I guess, not be as supportive to Israel's causes as, like, you know, our parents were?
So in Germany, due to our history, it's very split, I would say, on the right. Kind of
Oh, really?
similar to how it is in America, honestly.
There's a
The
woke
Israel,
right in Germany. There's like the
yeah,
woke right United.
it
Yeah.
does exist. However, I
Mm,
know that the what you might call the woke right,
mhm.
they are far from as prominent as it is in America. So somebody like
Oh.
Nick Fuentes would be behind bars for life. Seriously.
Oh, yeah,
And
he would be in jail.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
that's not me disagreeing or agreeing with him. It's just a fact. It's very simply, you would
If they're
not be
trying to
allowed
throw
to
you in
bully me.
jail, you don't even
Yeah.
think you have to explain. If they're trying to throw you in
Yes.
jail, obviously they're going to
Yeah.
throw him. I mean, so that's
No,
not even a
unfortunately,
question.
that is the truth. And so, any Israel criticism, it's totally fine if you're on the left. If you're on the left, you
Mhm.
can go out in the street and call
You can
death
say
to the Jews.
pro-Palestine. Yeah, say so. That's fine. You
The
can be
left, they are
pro-Palestine.
pro-Palestine, and they do all their queers for Palestine protests and whatever.
And we just want to say
And
we love Jews, in case anybody's AI is watching this or something. We love all the Jewish people because you quoted them. You know,
yeah, ironically, actually, I
yeah.
have more Jewish friends who tell me that they would vote for the AfD if anything in Germany, no matter whether they are pro-Israel or not very vocal about Israel, because the AfD is just Germany first, basically,
Mhm.
and that's how I think it should be. But it's way more dangerous for Jews in Germany due to all the Islamists that we've imported into the country.
Yeah,
That's the
that is.
biggest problem. They are literally killing people in the streets. No AfD supporter is calling for the death of Jews. But
Yeah.
at these
Well, let's stop
protests that
saying
are
death
supported
to
by the left,
that.
they do that.
Well, I agree, and it's crazy how you can really basically go out and say that as long as you're under the cover of being a Palestinian protester. But this is kind of the weird thing when it comes to, like, protests, and I go to a lot of these protests. I'm sure in Germany, like, they get crazy, and you can see, like, what's going on in Portland and Seattle, but, like, the majority of the people there don't want to be violent, even, like, on both sides. It's always, I feel like, a few bad apples. So, like,
You
that's,
mean in
and
Germany?
well, I'm talking about my experiences in America at
Yeah.
protests. So I guess I kind of want to get, your perspective of, like, German protests, because, like I said, the Portland ones are intense. But I would say, like, if there's, out of every 100 people protesting, there's only a few that actually want to get physical. Because I've been hit. I have. There are crazy people. Obviously, what happened to Charlie is crazy. That wasn't a protest. So people are violent. I'm not saying they're that violent, but I guess I encourage people to go to protests. And I think that they're kind of fun in a way, for lack of a better word. And no matter what the cause is, it's kind of funny to see people kind of come together for a cause. So I guess, yeah, what are the protests like? Like, I have a different perspective. I think they're pretty cool.
I agree with you in principle, but the difference is in Germany, you're not going to get any help, any support from anyone. Even if they agree with you in principle, nobody is going to come and help you and stand up for you. Because there's a very, unfortunately, cowardly mindset among many Germans. And this compliance, we have this duty to comply and be obedient. And if somebody steps out of line, even if you agree with them, if they get hurt, well, they had it coming. They risked it all, and so that's the natural consequence. In Germany, there's not, we like to call it Zivilcourage, which is basically like civil courage. So like standing up for someone else, and that's very much missing. Not standing up for other people. Why is that not a thing in Germany? We should be more loyal to our fellow Germans who agree with us in principle. It's kind of ironic because there's this interesting communist mindset almost. Everybody needs to think the same. Everybody needs to act the same. Neighbors are gonna snitch on each other if they don't recycle their trash properly, and that's not a joke. But as soon as somebody goes against the mainstream narrative, even if in principle in the back of their minds they agree with them, they will not support them openly, which is why for many years the AfD silently got more support than they did when people actually went to the polls, because last minute they are often discouraged by friends and family because I don't want to look like I'm the Nazi.
Yeah, and that's a term that's been overused, and I think it's losing some of its, power. But at the same
Yeah,
time, nobody wants to be labeled that.
yeah.
So I guess, kind of like when I think about Germany too, I know that Islamification is really bad, but here in America, and the Islamification is really bad in America. There's some cities that are being taken over by Islam. But for some reason, I think the most important social issue, and it is an important one because it comes down to our sexuality, but is like the LGBTQ trans
Oh
movement here
yeah.
in America. And I'm sure in Germany it's similar. So can you kind of give us your perspective of what that is like
Oh
in
yes.
Germany?
I can tell you a big story about that. Probably my best friend in the AfD is the family spokesperson. She's an amazing mother, Vanessa Behrendt, and she is basically the number one pedophile fighter. And she goes against the entire LGBTQ
Mhm.
community, and she calls out especially the political aspects of it. For example, the Green Party and the SPD, so the entire left, they established these sexual education guidelines, including toddlers, where they suggest that children should be given masturbation rooms in kindergarten. They're talking about masturbation for toddlers and like
That's
sexual
disgusting.
exploration for children. And then we have in Berlin, for example, we have a lot of LGBT kindergartens. Why do you have to make that entire aspect of a kindergarten? That's very strange.
Yeah.
And she is being politically persecuted. She just lost her immunity. They only do that in very extreme cases because she constantly calls out these pedophiles from the LGBT community, and then she gets charged with a hate crime because she calls out actual pedophiles. And in many cases, these LGBT people, they actually turn out to be pedophiles, but because she labels the LGBT community as being more prone to pedophilia, as a whole, that's why she's the one committing a hate crime. But here's a fun fact: the Green Party, far, far left in Germany, they actually have a whole history with normalizing pedophilia.
Well, like what? Just giving law like
Oh, they
lackadaisical
wanted to,
laws?
yeah, they wanted to legally
Yeah.
enforce it. All
Yeah.
pedophiles voted for the left. They voted for the Green Party.
Well, maybe there's a few AFD pedos in there, I'm sure, but I don't know.
No, because not really, because the AFD is probably the last party that you would want to vote for if you're a pedophile. There's evidence
Yeah,
for this.
that is true.
There is
I'm just
evidence for
saying
this. In
because there's
Germany,
always like the
unfortunately,
pedophile is always like the guy that's like been in the church for forever. It's like the BTK killer. There's a lot of these freaks out there that are undercover that
it's
they'll
unlikely.
pretend to be very conservative, but really they're a diddler. You know what I mean?
I get what you mean, but in Germany there are websites with blogs of people who are actual pedophiles who want to normalize pedophilia. And my friend from the AFD, Vanessa, she found some of these blogs, and they are unfortunately very popular blogs. She called them out in the parliament because why are you shutting down conservatives on the internet, but not these pedophile blogs? And all establishment parties agreed that they wouldn't shut them down. And then I checked these pedophile blogs, and these actual pedophiles that are openly saying, like, we're basically like the maps in America, we're pedophiles. And they hate the AFD, and they say they hate the AFD because the AFD is the only party who actually want to ban them and their websites. There's a website where they do FAQs where even if you're a teenager, you can message these pedophiles and send your questions to them. It's horrible.
Yeah, that's very, very disgusting. That should be outlawed. Those people need to be excommunicated from society.
Oh no, that's free speech. That's free speech.
Wow, you don't get you don't get any sort of letter in the mail that you've been arrested for your online post when you post that stuff. That's just, it's insane. At least here in America, that would never fly. That would never fly. I mean, I know there's like maybe those groomers that are on TikTok where they're kind of like grooming through videos, but I don't, I mean, I guess there is NAMBLA, North American Man Boy Lovers Association, but I don't even know if that's a thing anymore. I mean, maybe it still is. So I guess there are groups that openly do this. That is disgusting. And some people just really need some sick, I don't even know if they can get therapy. Yeah, basically. But it's funny when you like think about I think it was Seattle, I forget, or Portland, either one of them, they just passed legislation that if you're the victim of a pedophile sting, that you get a lighter sentence. And so so that is happening here in America, where they're like making, exceptions to people that just want to harm children. It's disgusting. And I don't know. And then I don't want to even get back to Israel. I don't even care. But, they just had a famous guy that got arrested in Las Vegas, and they just let him go home. So I guess there is a lot of instances here in America where they're soft on that. So, I guess it's, I misspoke when I said that wouldn't fly. Actually, there's multiple examples of it flying here in our country. But so, Naomi, what can we do? What can my audience, how can we help you get asylum? I know that you already have, a lot of supporters, Elon Musk being one of them, which I'm not surprised. Can you be honest? Does he DM you? I'm sure he's DMing, right? Is he a DMer?
A DMer? Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, I communicate with him.
Of course, Elon. Of course, I'm not surprised, but he's a very important guy to communicate with. I think if I were you, I would talk to him as much as possible. But be careful because like he can sneeze on you and get you pregnant, apparently. So you know what I mean. You got to be very careful with him. But Elon is the man when it comes to what he's doing. Like with Twitter, he brought back free speech. I do love it. At the same exact time, though,
I am eternally, immensely grateful for everything that he has done for Germany and Europe.
This is the last thing I'll say, though. I'm kind of worried that they're going to go back to being woke. Are you worried? And have you ever talked to Elon about that? Because it seems like I'm seeing more suspensions go up.
I don't know exactly what's going on X. I know that he is very busy with his other companies, especially right now, Tesla, and he just wants to take humanity to Mars. He doesn't really want to be bothered with what's going on at X, but he sees it. He complains about when there's something going on with the algorithm. I think he doesn't like to see people being banned. There was even an entire instance where I called out someone in Germany because he was funded by by the state because he was like a public media comedian, and he called for the death of Elon Musk and President Trump, and he like made jokes about it. And Elon afterwards he called out our chancellor, but then he said, "I will still allow this guy to be on the platform because of free speech." So I think Elon does not like that. He just cannot be involved with the algorithm and with who gets banned and who doesn't as much as he would maybe like to, because he's busy taking us to Mars and developing flying cars, which is amazing. I mean, this guy's full-time. He's constantly involved with his work, which is, I think it's very admirable. So everything that he has done for Germany and for Europe, it has not been beneficial for him. I know that it harmed Tesla a lot, and I think that hurts him too. But he just knew that it was the right thing to do, and I think he will continue to do that whenever it's needed. And he did offer me help. There's nothing specific that he can do, but I think if I needed help urgently and with something with the asylum case, then I would probably be able to reach out to him.
Yeah, he's one of the most powerful guys in the country. Even though he had like a beef with Donald Trump, it seems like at Charlie Kirk's wedding they were able to make up. So I think that he is obviously very powerful. Now, my one devil's advocate thing, and I do appreciate him, trying to go to Mars. But my argument is Twitter actually like changes and creates a whole culture. Like you could argue that what happens on Twitter is more important than what happens on Mars. Actually, I would think that's a fact because none of us are ever going to go to Mars, and all of us, not everybody's on Twitter, but a lot of people are on Twitter. But listen, he is focusing on bigger things than algorithms and dancing videos and whatever. I get how he thinks it's beneath him, but I would just argue that it is actually more culturally
AI
relevant. Has a bigger
is his
impact.
biggest thing right now, and that
Crap,
is a
now
very imminent problem.
my light just turned off. So this is the second interview I've done in my new studio, and I don't know why the heck we don't have a ton of people in the chat. I did share the link, but long story short, Naomi, I'm having technical difficulties. Now I'm gonna just turn on my other light. Oh gosh. Just do this. I've tried it. I got to get it all set up. Okay, that's better.
No worries at all. I know
now
the issue, especially with the light.
It's all messed up.
The
Whatever.
light.
We only have about 20 more minutes or 15 minutes, so we can wrap things up here. Naomi, you got a lot of big connections, so there's nothing that I can do that these other people can't do. But I'm telling you, I'm not just saying that. It's not just words. I do want you to get asylum. I think there's going to be some. Have you had any conservatives that have kicked back and said, "Hey, we don't want you, foreigner, get out of here"? Like, have you had any negative?
No,
kickback?
I think I received pretty much only positive feedback from Americans, from Republicans. A lot of Germans don't like it, and I mean more the people who say, "Oh, are you really under surveillance?" Yeah, I have a lot of evidence for it, and they don't take it as seriously. A lot of them. I mean, from the right and the people who are in my circles, they know exactly what's going on. They are victims of exactly the same thing. But for a lot of people who are still following the mainstream, they don't quite get it yet. They will get a taste of it eventually, and then it might be too late. And this is why I will continue to fight for it. And I just want to say to you that I've been following your stuff, and you on Tim Pool, your debates. I'm a big fan of what you're doing. Just
wow,
so you know
Naomi, that's so nice. And I love Tim. Have you been on Tim's show?
Not yet, no, but I would love to.
I'll get you on this week. I'll get you on right now. I'll literally text and get you on right now. I'm gonna text his booker, so I'll get you on that show. Can you get? Are you in DC? Because he's right.
I am in DC. I know. Yeah, he's very close. I've been in the back of his room, so I've been at the place before.
I'll get you on there right now. Lisa will say yes. I mean, I'm the pimp on a blimp. Come on, and then you'll get even more people. And then actually, Tim will really love it because Tim is the biggest Elon D writer, and I like Elon, but I'm not even trying to be an Elon hater. I'm just saying. He loves Elon. Oh, Elon shared my tweet. Tim loves an Elon. And Elon just shared his tweet yesterday. He messaged me because he knows I always kind of rag on him because he kisses Elon's butt so much. But that's because Elon's engaged with one of my tweets. It was Kamala Harris's rally, and it got like 14 million views. So I would like him to interact with me more, but I'm not going to beg Elon too much. And I know he's busy with Mars. Okay. Naomi, you're a social media sensation. Are you going, what's next for you? I know you're in DC, but are you going to any political events? There's a Turning Point's big event, AmFest. Are you going to go there?
Probably. I don't have
Right.
any specific plans yet, but anything that I can get an opportunity for, I will happily go there. Yeah. So far, I just recently I had this fear. What if my passport is running out right now? Because then I'm not gonna be able to travel anymore. And can I even safely go to the embassy and apply for a new one? Fortunately, I checked and it's still valid until like 2028. But yeah, I was worried for a second.
Yeah, I know you maybe thought it was 26. You're like, man, this thing's about to expire.
Yeah.
Well, Naomi, I really hate that if you went back to Germany, they would throw you in jail. It's really sad. And, you know, I'm a German stan. I think, they have made some of the best engineering in the world. And, Hitler was a terrible guy. I hate Hitler. But, Germany, created Porsche, Mercedes. Like they created some really incredible brands. And, you can't really deny like their cultural relevance, but it's sad that they've been taken over by the European Union. So I guess my last question is, why doesn't Germany have, I guess, more control over the union, considering they're one of the most powerful countries in Europe?
That's the thing. It is not that the European Union took over Germany, it's that Germany is establishing the European Union and Angela Merkel hijacked our government. Angela Merkel went into the CDU party. The CDU party is the Christian Democratic Union and it was formerly the Conservative Party, meaning they were like the Republicans and the SPD were like the Democrats. So these were the two big main parties, the establishment parties. And the other parties around that were less relevant. They were like forming a coalition with the big two parties, but those were the big ones. But Angela Merkel was the first CDU politician to form a coalition with the Green Party, very, very far left, shut down nuclear power, brought us into the Green New Deal, which is terrible. It's a terrible combination and terrible for German economy. And then she started the mass migration agenda, didn't close the borders. Then we had the mass rape event, New Year's Eve 2016. And then it just continued to go downhill from there. So she transformed the party. And the question is why? Here's a very interesting history of Angela Merkel, and I want to expose the hell out of it. So she was born in West Germany during the time when Germany was split, and then socialism was in East Germany. But her father is a well-known socialist, like he's a very proud socialist. This is not a secret. And he moved with her to East Germany when she was a toddler because he wanted to live under socialism. Because as we
No,
know,
so he would
some
wait.
animals are more
He went
equal
over
than
the Berlin
others.
Wall to the socialist side. Was that common? Did a lot of people do that to go on the
No,
like? I mean,
absolutely not.
yeah,
Nobody wanted to be in East Germany, but he wanted to be there
yeah.
because he knew that he was going to get privileges. And then she got privileges too. She grew up in. She became. She studied physics, and she got a lot of privileges. She could travel to the West whenever she wanted. She didn't have to abide by the rules. And then it was
Why? Because she
basically
was
more of a
originally from the.
coincidence.
Wait, time out, Naomi. Why could she go back and forth? Because she was originally from the West Side. Like I thought,
No,
it
because
was
she
like.
was studying physics and she got like
Oh, so
I
she
don't
was
know,
smart. Yeah, yeah. I'm saying
internship, that
because
kind of
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, and because of her connection, her father's connections too. But
Why does she hate
he's the
dogs? Why does she hate dogs?
I don't know. Does she hate dog? Oh, I saw the clip. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Well,
It's
they
a
say she
red
hates dogs.
flag, honestly. For some
Germany was the first country to, which I love, to create, animal cruelty laws.
Oh, I had no idea. Well, that's good. And
You know
yeah,
who
so
did that? You know who did that?
I can guess. I can probably guess. Yeah.
You guessed
Same
right.
with banning a bunch of with
Yeah, other stuff
pornography stuff.
that needs to be
Yeah,
banned. Well, it's interesting that happens,
interesting
but
history.
it's very crazy how the times change, and you get, it's just weird. All right, well, Naomi, before we go, I know you're big on Twitter, but where can people actually go and support you? I'm sure that you're, like I said, you do have a big following, but it is hard to kind of monetize this and make money, especially you're in America, which is really expensive, and I'm sure Germany is expensive, but you know what I mean. I'm sure it's not cheap. So how can people go and support you, not just like online, but financially?
Thank you. I appreciate that. I usually don't ask for donations. I work with a German alternative media company. I don't make a ton of money, but I am just privately, I'm in the healthiest and best spot that I've been in probably ever in my life. I'm the happiest that I've been. And I feel more confident than ever. So it's like money is kind of like a secondary aspect. But if you want to support me, it's on my X account. I have in my bio is my PayPal link. That's all I have. I don't even have Venmo.
Well, PayPal is awesome, but it's funny because I was just like watching this video, and it's actually started to work the last few days. It's that And I don't know how much you are into energy, and I am a very spiritual person. Like, I just think that all we see is a material world, but there's so much more to our
Yeah.
existence
No,
than
I
that.
agree.
But what you said really, it kind of made the light bulb go off in my head. The more you chase things and the more you like think about things, the less likely we're to get it. Because how it works is how it was explained to me, and it made a lot of sense. Is that like we're each an energetic being, and we're like a radio station. You know how you go to 96.7 and it's all fuzzy, then you go to 96.9 and it's perfect. So my point is the more that we like try to block our natural magnetic energy, the universe won't provide. Like the more you want money, the less likely you are to get it. And so I'm saying, you saying, oh, I'm not worried about it, I'm happy, I don't need the money, that is how you make money. So I'm just trying to tell people, it's kind of like the more you try to like focus on getting something, you almost need to just kind of be yourself and not block the things from coming to you, because the universe does provide. So I think the universe will provide. With all that being said, I think the universe will provide you handsomely. So Naomi, I think you got a bright future. I know you might go to jail if you ever go back to Europe. Last question: what does your family say about this? Are they there? I'm sure you miss them. Are you going to try to get them asylum? How's your family handling this?
I spoke with Congresswoman Anna Luna, and she helped me. She's helping me fast track my asylum case, but she cannot influence the decision of the judge in the end. And she said, if your family needs help, if they need to apply for asylum, then we can get that done too. The problem is, however, my mom is a lawyer and she's bound by German law, so she couldn't practice outside of Germany. So if there is a financial goal for me long term, then it would be to be able to retire my mom, because she's gonna have to work until the rest of her life. She's not going to have a good pension or
Even
anything.
being an attorney, I'm
Yes,
saying even
you
being
would
an
think that she
attorney.
makes a ton of money. She does not.
Well,
She
not
was
a
in a lot of
ton,
debt. She
but
was in a
like
lot
like
of
a
debt in the
yeah.
past, and she made it out of that. She's a single mother of two girls. I have a little sister, and she actually came to DC earlier this year, and that was the first time in my life when I was able to just say, I'm going to pay for your hotel. I'm going to take care of you, whatever you need. And that was huge for me as a personal achievement, and I hope to in the future help her more with that, and then help her retire somewhere else, because I know she wants to get out of Germany too. And my
Yeah.
grandma, I have a very good
Well,
relationship with my grandma now. That's probably the most unfortunate thing, that there's a very good chance that I will never be able to see her again. She's already very old, and that's very sad. And I have mentioned this before, and then she sent me a message and said that she's watching all my interviews and she's praying for me. And yeah, she supports what I'm doing. And I know that that's the most valuable thing, just to know that she's there watching me and I stay in touch with her.
I know. Well, maybe you can like meet her outside of Germany or something. I
I
don't
can,
know,
yeah,
but
the problem is right now I'm not allowed to leave the United States at all for
oh, because the
possibly
asylum issue.
years. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Wow. I thought maybe you could go meet her in London or something like that. I mean, can you travel like to Australia and other countries that aren't in the EU? Like obviously South America, they wouldn't care probably.
Right now, no. And I mean, my grandma cannot just travel. I mean, she's too old to travel to
No, not your
Australia
grandma, I'm
or
saying
something.
you like, will
In
you
the
get picked up?
future, yes. In the future, yes. Right now, I'm not allowed to leave America at all, which is fine by me. I love America, and America is very diverse as well. So that's okay for me.
Yeah.
I don't have the
Well, I
desire
had
to
to
go
cut you
anywhere
off. No,
else.
name, I have to cut you off. You're in Washington, D.C., which is like extra diverse because a lot of people don't realize outside of Capitol Hill and the politics side of Washington, D.C., it's all African American. And I'm not even saying that, as a pejorative, as
That's
negative,
true.
but I'm just saying you think Washington, D.C., oh, it's like this super nice city, but really it's kind of like Hunger Games. Like you have like the really nice or expensive, and it really goes back to Hunger Games because I remember I did an official tour at the Capitol. I don't know if you've done one yet, but I think it's only like $20. You need to go sign up. You can sign up online. I
Oh,
really encourage you to go do it. And just go to the website, just type in like Capitol Tours, and it's good. But the first thing during the tour, they make you sit in this like theater in the Capitol building, make you watch this video, and within the first like 45 seconds of the video, they're like, "These are hallowed halls that were built by slaves." And it kind of like makes you think, they're kind of trying to guilt
yeah.
trip you, but then you're kind of like, damn, this was built by slaves. Like this is kind of crazy how they're able to do this, yada yada yada. So I don't know. I guess it has a different appreciation for Washington, D.C. when you realize it is a very African American city, and you might not know that. And Virginia is a unique state as well if you spend very much time in Virginia. So you are in a very unique part of the country. I would encourage you to also travel, because there's a
Oh, I
lot of
did.
like,
I did.
yeah,
When I came to America last year, I actually came to New York first. Then I went to Miami, was supposed to stay there for a month, but then I got an invitation to Pennsylvania to the second Butler rally. So I stayed in Pennsylvania for a bit. I went to Texas. I went to a shooting range in Texas. And then I went to Mexico for 2 weeks because
Dude,
I had to
Mexico's great.
reset. I had to reset my tourism visa thing. So I had to stay out of America for a bit and then come back. And then I applied for asylum. So I traveled. I did nothing but travel.
Awesome.
Also last
Well,
year and then the beginning of this year, and then moved into an apartment this year.
well, you're a pimp on a blimp yourself. Well, guys, I hope you guys will all go support Naomi. And I know that, like I said, we've always on this channel we've been big booty Latinas first, but we can make an exception for Naomi that Germans, hot German girls are allowed in America too if they want to
I
fight.
cannot
So if you're,
compete in the booty or boob department,
no,
but
but that's fine. You make up for it in other departments. Trust me. All right, Naomi, thank you again. And you shouted out your PayPal. You shouted it out. Please tell Elon to be my friend if you talk to him a lot. I love Elon, and I tell him I appreciate what he did on Twitter. All right, well, Naomi, you're the best. Everybody go follow Naomi, guys. This has been Mind of Stein, and I'll be back tomorrow. We got interviews all week, so I love you guys. Peace.
thank you so much.
Thank you, Naomi. Now I got to hit in stream, but I don't know where my mouse is because I don't even know how to work my dang computer, everybody. Oh, there it goes. All right, we love you
Oh,
guys.
that's very
See you
mean.
later. Bye.
Bye.